So tell us what's going on with you guys since we've last spoken, and particularly in terms of the growth of your business in Europe, the scope of your customers, and the kind of services you're providing, and sort of what they're demanding now.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we spoke to you earlier this year about the entire carbon launch, and yeah, the traction since then has just been amazing. So we're pretty much overwhelmed with demand for the product. We're busy as hell. Sorry, excuse the French. To integrate the technology everywhere. We've signed more than we're working with more than 10 different national broadcasters in Europe now. We have, we're working with premium media businesses in more than 25 markets. So it's busy days for us. And obviously, what seems to be getting a lot of traction is the fact that we can completely just hide the complexity of the multi-platform world. So we can really make the business scale, if you like, for the publishers. So we're the primary ad server. We're involved in actually serving the ads to the end users, regardless of if it's sold directly by the in-house sales team or if it's coming from an agency or a network, which might happen sometimes. So what we're doing is that it's our platform they're working with to schedule all the campaigns and get the availability figures so they can know what to sell, etc. But as to traffic it, what we found when we got busy with multi-platform a couple of years back is like, okay, the hard part is not getting live on the different platforms. That's the easy part. We spent a year getting live on 15 different platforms, and then we learned that, okay, the hard part is actually making the workflow scale, because it used to be that with other platforms and also with us before, the workflow could increase almost exponentially with all the QAing you would have to do for every platform you added to the mix. There was more assets that you had to chase from the agencies, and then you had to control them and make sure that they were, not corrupted, etc. And it just, it didn't work. So when we spoke to clients about this, we realized that we just had to completely turn this around. Like ad ops people, even though they're the heroes of their organizations, they tend to perhaps not know everything there is to know about codecs and JavaScript and different programming languages, and they shouldn't have to. So what we did was basically to build this into the platform as a native dimension, and the platform nowadays can tell, which platforms you're targeting with the campaign, pre-transcode and create all those permutations of the video file that you're going to need to cater those campaigns. And then on the fly, when the incoming ad call is coming, you just select the right assets. So for all the ad ops people and the sales people and the ad people care, they're serving that video file to the different platforms. So they don't even have to know that there's different permutations of that video file. So I think that, the bulk of the people in the EU still use the cookies because nobody has quite figured out how to basically adopt the legislation. And to be honest, it's going to be very, very hard to enforce it. Still, like if you look into the text of the law, it's like you actually, as a service provider, you have to ask explicitly get opt-in from your users, and it would be like in that, like if you depending on how you interpret it, that would mean that our clients, for instance, or any client using any third-party vendor technology that requires cookies, you could interpret the law as if we would have to ask on behalf of our clients on each side for opt-in, which would just, you can imagine the user experience. If you would go to a normal media site, you would get like 30 different opt-ins from 30 different companies, and that just wouldn't work. So we normally advise our clients you can ask on opt-in on our behalf, or you can choose to just use cookieless ad serving, because we're completely fine serving ads without cookies. We built the platform that way. We started that project way ahead of the EU legislation becoming a threat to the business, simply because there's also platforms that we want to serve ads to that doesn't support cookies. So there's more reasons than just the legislation for why to stay away from cookies. But to be honest, nobody really knows quite where this will end up, and so far it hasn't really impacted anybody too much. But it's a weird situation where you don't know, it's law, right? So what should we do about it? Brightco is one of our old friends, so they are very much catering to the content side of the publisher's business, and we're catering the ad side. We have been pushing clients to their direction for a couple of years, and they've been doing the same for us. And it's, primarily a strong partnership here in Europe for us. And yeah, Brightco is one of our many partners in that space. We work also with other platforms as well, of course. So in terms of regions of the world, there's just an obvious answer to that there's a lot of, markets that hasn't really, become as mature as the US market or, parts of Europe is nowadays. So there's a lot of room for growth there, obviously. We're seeing very good traction in Asia, and that's very exciting for us. But more so, I would say that the multi-platform stuff that everybody here at IBC are actually talking about, but fewer are doing in a big scale way. I mean, what's really happening there is that we still, I think in many ways connected TV is where mobile were 2005. We're all kind of waiting for, I mean, the hardware is there, the features is there, but the user experience doesn't quite work, and there's a lot of rights issues and stuff. But if we could somehow get the device out there with the solid user experience that would do to connected TV what the iPhone did to mobile, you know, that's when we believe that the party will really get started. And that will, I mean, when our mothers, you know, drop the schedule and start using their on-demand service on their connected TV, that's where, you know, the consumption shift will really start for real. It's growing like crazy now, but that's when it will really start. And, you know, the ad money will simply follow that.